Order for another breaking news, case your fan amedini in Abremu, I will Ghanatube. The former Buffer Stock CEO, Attorney General, the Siameno Casano, Wakako Pimo Court, will see Mupan 25 solid charges against the former Buffer Stock CEO. Mubekaino, or no, yes, or the Ghana Sika, and as a Bansika, SEC. Aye companies a woodwo pan investment pan wa ye no odofo enye sumo sisi amena okasa no enche bia na ye attorney general na nkasa ba abontin e na obeka sansem we nyina se ode ne beko court no wakwa akosi ni sisi amena okasa no attorney general Dominic Ayini wona nkasa kwakopi mu court a wakwa akosiu aye former Buffer Stock CEO this time round aye 25 solid charges ene de attorney so no nkwa Only a mouthful who do be monso can home. Order Sisi and we are breaking news about to jar. Mesu beginning in our bro. A former Buffer Stock CEO and others ya charge your mo 25 our court. Attorney General Nankasa and what charge your more. Breaking news in our better abonti Mesu beginning in our brother for Humanco, Niako San Sem winning and chim. Our Ghanatube memories here.
Matters relating to the court and the Office of the Attorney General and the Minister for Justice, because he has filed a total of 24 charges against embattled former Chief Executive Officer of the National Food and Buffer Stock Company, NAFCO, Hanan Abdul Wahab, his wife, Faiza Said Wuni, and 3 others with a litany of offences, including stealing, conspiracy to steal, willfully causing financial loss to the state, using public office for profit, and money laundering. Let's take a closer look at the details of the charge sheet. And we'll do that for you right now in relation to what these charges are. 24 in totality. 5 individuals we know are being charged with counts which include stealing, conspiracy, money laundering, using public office for profit, amongst many other things. And so we'll try and walk you through it on this dashboard right away. And so, like I mentioned, the counts 24, the total accused persons or entities 5, because we know there are some listed companies as well in this. And then the most frequent offense being money laundering, in terms of what the Attorney General revealed as details of what it is that investigations have uncovered, amongst many other things. And so let's start with the CEO, the former CEO of the Buffer Stock Company Limited. He's the main accused in this. He's implicated in 20 out of the 24 counts. And the key charges, amongst many other things, include stealing, 4 counts of stealing, fraudulently causing financial loss to the state, 4 counts as well. Money laundering, we see 6 of it. Defrauding by false pretenses, 2 counts. A conspiracy to commit fraud or money laundering, 2 counts, and then using public office for profit, 4 counts. Faiza Seidu Wuni is the wife of Mr. Wahab. She is suffering 6 counts of money laundering with Hanan and others, and 2 counts of defrauding by false pretenses amounting to some 9.8 million cedis with Hanan, and then 1 count of dishonestly receiving amounting to some 4.4 million cedis. Again, we know of 1 other individual who is not here, but these are the 2 main suspects in terms of, or the 2 main individuals who are expected to be put before court. Their plea will be taken, amongst many other things, and then upon their plea, we will know whether or not the trial will proceed. But if there's anything to go by, we know that this man issued a statement where he, amongst many other things, on the back of that press conference by the Attorney General, denied flatly any or such allegations have been made against him by the Office of the Attorney General. And so this is what we know in terms of the counts, but there will be a lot more in terms of what it is that is expected in the aftermath of everything that's expected to happen in relation to this particular case. And we know as well that we're yet to get details as to when the case will be called in court, but most certainly something that we'll continue to keep our eyes on and bring you details of. But let's move away from that and take you to Parliament right now, because the minority is this afternoon demanding the suspension of the veteran of Paul Bafo-Boni as Chief Justice until all outstanding legal challenges concerning the removal of the Chief Justice or former Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonum are resolved in court. In a motion filed at the Speaker's office, we understand the NPP lawmakers are asking the Speaker to hold all processes by the Appointments Committee, citing current cases at the High Court and the ECOWAS Court. The Appointment Committee has scheduled to vet the Chief Justice nominee on November.
Order 4, yes, out of 24 counts, no, ye the baku 20 and a bone. Order 4, breakdown on a who in the Siano, a chess former buffer stock CEO, no, so I pam, our courts pan, yes, see, ordinance a bicycle in the Siano, yet the 20 counts out of 24 counts, no, yet they are born then, you know, or nene yere. Eno mubo no mudi say dwuma ni nyina orofo enti si amena okasa no attorney general na nkasa na wa bwura court a wakwa akoche se ode sa charges we nyina bakobo yankasa former buffer stock CEO one na yere na chese breaking news ni nyina betodwa me so bi ni nyina bro Ghanatube orofo manko na esantu ansem no so be disi Ghanatube so.
But 10, 2025. Let's connect right now with Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Christian Yale for a bit more on this particular subject matter. Chris, we know the removed CJ has about 3 pending cases in court. Walk us through, if you can, those cases and what the minority is saying. Hello, Chris. Can you hear me? It does appear Chris cannot hear us at this particular point in time. We'll seek to rectify the connection with him because there are quite a number of schools of thought as to whether or not these pending applications in respective courts, some the High Court, some the Supreme Court, amongst others, could be subject upon which the hand of Parliament can be stayed in carrying out its constitutionally mandated function in terms of vetting. And there are those who say, yes, it should. There are those who say it shouldn't. But let's try one more time with that connection with Christopher, or Christian Yale, I should say. Christian, I was asking if you could walk us through what the argument of the minority is vis-a-vis the pending cases of the removed Chief Justice.
About 5 members from the minority caucus have submitted this motion at the office of the clerk to Parliament, making these demands. But just to run through what we know so far pertaining to the pending cases filed by the removed Chief Justice, we know that there is one case that she had filed at the Supreme Court, and that particular case indeed was challenging the removal process by the Puaman Committee. I mean, I've heard a number of lawyers make the argument that that substantive case at the Supreme Court concerning the Puaman Committee's duty is actually moot as of now, because the committee has already finished its work, or part of it, which has led to her removal from office. But we also know that at the High Court, for instance, she has had one case that was seeking to make the case that if the president has removed her from office as Chief Justice, she still has that right to remain as a judge on the Supreme Court bench. But we know the Attorney General had responded to that, for instance, and demanded that that case be transferred to the Supreme Court so that that constitutional interpretation involved in that particular bit be dealt with, as to whether when she is removed as a Supreme Court Justice or a Chief Justice, she can still remain as a Supreme Court judge. And there again, Eric, we know that there is that other case that has to do with her demand that she be reinstated, and also requesting that even the appointment of Paul Bafo-Boni as Chief Justice and his vetting be put on hold. We know that last week, for instance, during a media engagement with the press corps, that was even last 2 weeks, the minority leader had lambasted the Paramount Committee, describing it as unconstitutional and unfair, the processes that led to the removal of the former CJ. And so this motion that we have cited, which I have a copy of right now, Eric, is saying that in pursuant to articles 1101 and then 125 to 127 of the Constitution, and also even that of article 1441 and 146, Parliament should, as a matter of fact, cause the appointment committee to halt any proceedings concerning the vetting of Paul Bafuboni as Chief Justice. And also, as a matter of fact, they are making the case that all of those cases that I've cited at the High Court and even that at the ECOWAS Court be dealt with, so that these outstanding legal battles be dealt with before any possible consideration of a new Chief Justice can proceed. Eric.
And it's interesting that this argument is being made because it feeds directly into further argument as to whether or not pending cases before the courts can stay the hand of Parliament. How?
Out of when I breaking news, I told you at SM, we didn't in our bro, our Ghanatube. Just say, former Buffer Stock CEO, no, and I just on a year or Masu Ayashi, I will quarter. Menso medini nyina bro e wo Ghana to see amena okasa yes see 20 charges out of 24 charges no and ye dey abon charges ni nyina was 24 but you see anu ye dey 20 and ye dey abon anyo no nko an one na yere pan na chese see anu omo ha chi omo dendenden e wo court menso medini nyina bro e wo Ghana to fo we attorney general nankasa na wakwakopi mu court Wakot so this charges when you know they go more. Just says see anu omo hu achi omo dendenden wo court ye see omo de omunsa abo abansi kemu. Enti see anu ye nya sika e de abelde the economy of Ghana do for we ene ye nsema e koso court ameso meji ni nyina brel e wo Ghana to the form refi say bo be like no ma subscribe no ma share no ma hit notification bell so man say the be a bring ya bibia do pe content say ya wo na me no kasa no wonya ne tempa no ahwe ite mo do for aha na me de court nsem nyina be si Ghanatube so bakra mu nyina me da mu nyina si bebre